Well, global markets were largely positive to start the week off on Monday. When we look at all three US benchmark indices, all of those rose in trade to start the week off. Investors are, of course, awaiting data on consumer confidence in the US, and that will be a key metric to look out for. Even from a Fed standpoint, there is an expected increase in interest rates, or Fed will increase rates as well. So, and that will mean that two important metrics will be looked at. One is, of course, employment, and second is consumer confidence. And both those metrics is what investors will look out for to try and understand how the Fed will go about. The Dow was up around 0.25% in trade, the S&P 500 up around 0.7%, and the Nasdaq rose over 1.3%. Mind you, Nasdaq was the only index in the red on Friday, and that's kind of reversed sharply on Monday, 1.3% bounce in the Nasdaq. Coming quickly on to Europe, well, European indices closed higher as well, with the stock 600 up around 14 bips or so. The DAX was up around 0.75%, and the FTSE 100 was probably the only one in the red, down around 15 bips or so. When we look quickly at how Asian indices have opened up, well, they're looking positive in early trade today largely. When we look at how the Nikkei, the Hang Seng, the ASX, as well as the Korean Kospi is looking all largely in the green, with only the Shanghai clinging on to around 0.33% of losses. But other than that, broadly, the Nikkei is up around 0.6%, Hang Seng up around 1/3% or so, the ASX up 4/5%, and the Kospi up around 1/4% broadly. When we look at how the SGX Nifty is looking early today, well, it's up around 0.75%, again a positive for Indian indices surely. When we look at how gold and oil are doing in the commodities basket, well, oil has been in focus of late, but in a good fashion. So oil is now on the fall, it's on the retreat, it's at around $105 a barrel in early trade as we speak, with Brent closing in on that $111 a barrel mark. When we look at gold though, gold is behaving differently largely because bond yields are going up. So with a rise in bond yields, gold prices have tempered, they've tapered down. Gold is at around $1,927 an ounce in early trade today, and moving towards bond yields. Well, bond yields which have been elevated 2.5% plus, there's a continuous rise on that front. They are at around the 2.45% mark even in early trade today, so holding up really smartly despite that rise. And even in the dollar index, well, it's holding up above that 99 mark quite smartly. So on both those fronts, clear indications that bond yields are going to remain decently elevated as the Fed unwinds its interest rate. When we look at crypto, well, broadly all of crypto is in the green at the moment, with Bitcoin just below that $47,500 mark. That's a roundup of how global indices are looking. Positive cues for India for sure. And we look at how trade on Tuesday goes.